Um, so Audrey and I are planning to go to the MFA, the museum on Friday.
Yeah.
What if the people are here?
Well, maybe. Hey, Odd.
Maybe her brother can come by.
Yeah. Can your brother stay here on Friday if you guys go to the art to the gallery? In case those guys are here.
I don't think he'll agree
Because he what? Well, let's just see if the people are going to be there. Maybe.
Maybe on Friday.
Maybe I can just take it.
Friday you can have two of them school with you and just have your car for the day.
Doesn't help the matter. You guys are going to be at.
Then I can see you.
No. I can maybe take a day off or something. Let's just see first. Instead of making all these plans that may not even need to be made, let's just wait.
Here, the workers may not even work here Friday, right?
I have no idea.
Well, we'll figure it out, that's for sure. We'll figure it out somehow.
And your brother wouldn't come or can't or I mean, not that he has to, but huh?
It's not that he can't, because he doesn't have anything to do. It's that he's getting, he has a hard time.
With other people,
Yep.
strangers.
And he's starting to get, I can tell he's, this is the most I've
Yeah, okay. That's fine. I just wasn't sure if he had some appointment or something.
He's gonna be here all Saturday, so I just would think that he's gonna be willing to. Yeah.
See where the kitty's sleeping. Right by where mom's painting was over the stairs.
Jay said we could get cat food. There's only on Tuesday. And, I have to buy all the cat food we need. And then I need to get warming papers and tobacco. So I have to have all that tomorrow. Sweeten the deal. Brings it home. What? He doesn't like to be around people. So he's constrained. But he understands that hypernesia.
How are you? Well, what's your name? Huh? What's your name? Who are you? Who are you?
Hey, I am still in Minnesota, Mr. Law Office. Camera. There. Kind of, sort of. How are you doing, Neville? Neville, hello. I see. It's going to be 60 to 59. I don't know. Upper warm tomorrow.
Okay, Pierre, I'll talk to you later.
Okay. If you find out that they're coming today, why don't you send a text and send Anthony anything that you about the bathroom
Yeah.
so that he knows what we did in terms of the faucets, so he doesn't have to call the plumber yet.
Yeah, I know.
It's okay. We started baby steps to getting this house empty-ish. Though if there were dumpsters out front, it would take days just to throw everything out, let alone decide what to keep and what to sell and things like that. There's a lot of shit. Well, there's a lot. Take my word for it. Hoarding is in my genetic makeup. But we brought some things to a auction place called K-Bid, and the guy that is going to be selling the stuff for us, he seemed smart and seemed sort of enthusiastic, and he didn't seem like a used car dealer. Not to say that there's anything wrong with used car dealers. But you know what I mean. There's some really interesting things here. Neville, let me show you one of the interesting things. My father had these two life-size hounds, Great Danes. I don't know what these things are. There's Italian ceramic dogs, a pair, male and female, and they were on the stairwell at my dad's store, and the ears are broken on one of them. They're glued back on, but they were little kids would climb on the backs and hold the ears and ride them like a little pony. And those would look great if someone had a largish stairway or largish room.
Here, I thought I'd take a shower. Do you need
No, fine. And another thing we have, I'll show you. My dad bought it, and he was told it was from a marquee from a Coney Island thing, though it looks a little older than Coney Island, though of course Coney Island had a million different kinds of things in it, different kinds of art. But it's 10 feet long, roughly, maybe 9 feet. And of course you can't see it now, can you? It's about 2 feet tall, and it says Wilmot's Wilmot's Electric Picture Palace. So I don't think it went on top of a movie house, but it could have been a magic lantern show. I would think it's older than a movie. There's my daddy. Not a very good view of him. I think it looks better from the side here. Well, you can see something exactly like them if you look at the movie Pink Panther. Look at the Pink Panther movie. I think it might have been the second one. It's the one that has George Sanders as the bad guy, and he lives in Italy, I think, in some estate. And on either side of the front door of the estate, outside, next to the grapple driveway, there are the same dogs. So they were mass produced, and I do see them online. We did a search for them, and they're quite expensive, but no, he owned a clothing store, and it was sort of the swankiest store in the Midwest outside of Chicago. And my dad would go to New York and Paris and Milan occasionally, but New York often. And he would go to the fashion shows and stuff, and he would find. No, I don't. No, I don't play this game. You go find someone else to play the game. And he, for example, went into one showroom in New York, and some guy was selling neckties, and it was about his sales room was about the size of a small kitchen, and is what breath? That sign? The sign is carved wood. Anyway, he went to New York and went into this small showroom and bought some neckties from this guy that no one ever heard of before. When he was only selling neckties at the time, and it was Ralph Lauren. So my dad was one of Ralph Lauren's first customers, and so the fashion conscious people here in Minnesota had the ability to buy my father's taste. But his clothing store was made to look sort of like this is 50 years ago and 60 years ago, and it was quite fancy. I mean, the interior, it was full of antiques, and he would put up these false fronts of buildings so it looked like you were in the middle of a bazaar, and all around you, surrounding you, were these buildings, these false fronts that sort of hid back rooms and storage rooms and his office and stuff like that. But it wasn't just fake faux painting and brick and vinyl buildings. These were actual wood buildings with actual stained glass windows and French doors and fancy stuff like that. So anyway, then there's that. This house is full of stuff. And of course, I don't want to sell the house, but I can't buy it. And we're thinking whether my one brother that has been living here essentially for a decade or longer, when my mother died 10 years ago. So when she was ill, my brother started living here to help them out. And so he's essentially lived here. Though he has a house of his own, he rented that out. So maybe if he's able to sell his house and desire to move in here, he can buy my little brother out. And I said he doesn't have to buy me out. I don't own a third. But I'm not sure at this point. It might just, we're not getting any younger, and money might be a better thing to have than a house that's pretty big. What are your thoughts, people? A lot of my father's artwork, some of my mother's. My mother, we have all of what she's ever made, but she didn't make as much as my father did. Huh. Cool. Well, in this case, it was Ralph Lauren when he was just Ralph Lauren and had ties. This is before he did anything else. Hello, Ms. Darling. Oh dear. Sorry to hear that. Neville, let me show you the view. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it very well here. But another thing about this house that I would miss the most are the sunrises. And looking see if I can get up here. I hurt my back yesterday, so I'm moving kind of slow. Looking out toward the east, trying to get it so the sun doesn't hit me in the eyes. You see the Minnesota River Valley, and there's sort of a very swampy, shallow lake. It's called a lake, but sometimes you don't see any water because it's full of grasses. That's been a long time since that's happened. There's this flat floodplain sort of thing down there that is filled with water. So it looks like a lake, though I could walk across it, I would think, without getting my knees wet. And then there's a strip of land that's not very wide. And then there's the Minnesota River. And then there's another bluff, and then the next suburb where my other brother lives. So it's really a beautiful view. And so the next house that way is 2 miles away, and the houses on either side of us and across the street are very close, ish. This land is 1.5 acres that this house is on. So it's not a lot of land, though it looks like a lot of land because you don't see any other. I mean, if you 180 degrees of the view, you don't see another house. My little brother wants to sell it for a couple of reasons. He'd like the money, and he sees it as having a leaky roof, termites in the eaves, ground rot, and various other issues, including a pipe that burst, which is why I'm here, and a sewer line that needs to be rerouted because every once in a while it backs up. But so there's work that needs to be done on it. But my thought would be, if it were to be sold, I don't know this exactly, but I used to think this. If it were to be sold, it would be torn down and some big ugly thing put it in its place, because it's sort of a weird house because it was added on to twice, and it's the first time it was done well, and the second time it was added on to, it was sort of done a little weirdly. My dad built a studio on the end of the house and added a bathroom, a big fancy bathroom for the master bathroom, a sunken tub and sorts of nonsense like that, and a skylight. And the access to the studio, which is kind of the biggest room in the house, you have to either go through the laundry room in the basement or through the master bedroom. So, but I'm thinking, if my crystal ball said that after it is sold to someone other than someone in the family, meaning my brother, it will be torn down. And I tell Troy, the one that wants to sell it and thinks that the house is falling apart, I said, if its fate is to be torn down, we can deal with the leaky roof the way we've been dealing with it for the last 20 years and put a bucket under the drip. And we can, cut down some of the trees that are, all of the trees in the yard that are toward the street, my father planted, and he just planted and planted and planted and planted. So, and none of the older ones were taken down when they were sick. They would fall over when they died, but they weren't really pruned. Well, yes, patching. It's actually a skylight that's leaking. So, and then that's what they do. Skylights leak. So, capping the skylight might be a easier way to do it than doing. Anyway, the idea is I've been imagining building with an erector set and copper a little interior pail and downspout that would go down and make it into a sculpture. That's what I would do. Of course you would, Pierre Gustafson. But the thing is, it's a really neat house for someone that doesn't have a family, because it's awkwardly built for a family right now. It has sort of 3 bedrooms, which I guess is enough for a family, but so anyway, one of the things we're dealing with is we do have a lake home up north that is a house. It's not a cabin, it's a house, but a regular house with tiny bedrooms, because my parents thought we would never grow up. We'd always be in a twin bed. So the bedrooms are small, but the rest of the house is kind of nice. And I'm thinking of taking pieces of furniture that belonged to my grandmother that I think would look really good up there and replacing the things we've had there for 40 years, 45 years, 50 years, 50 years, God, 50 years. And, you know, completely nothing country-ish looking furniture that could go away. How many rooms here? There's a 2-car kitchen. The kitchen, the addition that we added here was once a garage, a 2-car garage, and that burned with the cars in it. And my dad enlarged the house and put the kitchen in the garage. So the kitchen is quite large. Then there's the old kitchen, which was our dining room, and then we had sort of a 2-part living room on the upstairs, and then 2 bedrooms and a couple of bathrooms. And then downstairs we had a laundry room, a rec room, and 2 bedrooms. And my bedroom is the only room in the house that doesn't have a window going outside. It's in the basement in the side of the house that doesn't have windows. It's a walkout basement, so when you're in the basement, most of the time you don't really know you're underground, because there's a lot of there's essentially this almost that much room downstairs below us. So it's a lovely house. But I'm thinking, you know, if the crystal ball says that it will be torn down once it's outside of our family, it's still, without fixing the roof, you can, I'll see if I can show you. The basement is where it was flooded. Let's see if I can go down there. This is the hatchway that keeps the mold. Am I still here? Can you still? It's no longer flooded, but I should come down here and do a drawing of this. I like the I'll see if I can show you the studio, but I may lose you. So I'll be back if I go blunt. Here's another bedroom, laundry room. Well, I guess it doesn't allow me to go into that room because it's too. The weirdest part of this house, I think, and I don't understand how we didn't have people breaking their neck. But this is the front door. When the kitchen was a garage, this was the only door to the house, the front door to the house, and people would walk in.
Did you? Got me scared.
Don't worry.
Where's the cat?
I don't know. Don't worry. I'm coming in a minute. I guess I'm locked out. This is the front door. So someone would come in. They'd say, "Hi, Nellen Wells. So nice to see you." And they would turn and step back on their high heels. And there's the basement. And no one fell in the 60 years of walking through that front door. And I would think that there must have been a time when someone could just tumble down. The reason the door was closed is there are two cats that are escape artists. And well, there is a rail on one side, but there's two. Again, you walk in, and if a young married couple was visiting another married young couple in 1958, you would think that all four of them standing in that one little spot and shaking hands and giving hugs and doing air kisses or whatever people did back then, that one of them might, oh my God, step back and plummet to their death, plummet to a lawsuit. But it never happened. This is very weird. At the base of the stairs, which normally you can see, it's essentially a 2-story tall wall. Is it a 2-story tall? Well, 1.5 story, because there's a landing there. Hung this picture of my mother. It's not exactly life size, but so she always was when I would come home late and sneak downstairs without making any noises, she was always watching me. Not that I ever came home late. I was in bed at 6 o'clock all my life. She looks thoughtful. She, during the posing process, the painter, who's a family friend, went to school with my parents. She was posing, and he was, can you try this? Can you try that? Turn this way, turn that way, have your arms this way, have your arms that way. And nothing was working out right. And so he said, he had a camera, as taking pictures as well. And he said, well, now I need to get more film or something like that. And so she stopped posing, and she just she had a necklace with a watch on it, and she just started playing with that. And that's when he took the picture, because she wasn't posing, and that's how it looked. The one he did of my father hated. I don't know where that is. I mean, it used to hang in the corner across from me right now, and I always liked it, but when we actually took it down from the corner that it was in, and we had it at his funeral, I don't think we have the photographs. They might exist somewhere, but I can't remember. He also did the portraits of the kids, which I'll show you in a second. But the one of my father, when it was at his funeral and it was on the easel, we brought this one to my mother's funeral service, and it was, even though my dad didn't like that painting, we kept with the tradition, and he wasn't about to say you can't. I looked at the picture and I saw why he didn't like it, or I think I saw why he didn't like it, and his face looks like he's bored. I mean, he's just not thinking about anything, and I don't think my father ever not thought about something. He just looks tired and bored, more bored, sort of vacant looking. So he did pictures of us kids, the same artist. Later on, I don't know, used to be hanging there, but we moved it. These are the ones he did of the three boys. I'm over here, Todd and Troy. Todd and I were 2 years apart, and these were done at the same time. Troy was 8 years younger than us, so. So they, oh, well, I'll show you a picture of my dad. I have the original photograph of this one, but here's a print. Of my dad when he was in Korea. A picture of my mom back in the olden days. So again, sort of the same sort of look, tilted head. Yeah, he takes after me. The handsomeness. Well, her eyes had a. Um, people thought her eyes looked like Elizabeth Taylor, but you know it's hard to. I mean, actresses have often way too much makeup on. You're the milkman's baby. You look like the milkman, do you? There's a joke about a woman that went to a fortune teller, and young woman went to a fortune teller, and the fortune teller looked in the crystal ball and said, "Oh, I see tragedy in your life. It'll happen later today. Your father will die." And the woman got up and ran home to warn her mother about her father's death, and she got stuck on a train and couldn't get home fast enough, and finally got home and, "Mom, I've got some horrible news. Dad is going to die." And the mother said, "Well, I just talked to him on the phone, but it is funny. The milkman keeled over today. He's dead." So anyway, bump, bump, bump. I don't know how to tell a joke, but that's essentially the gist of it. Well, today I thought I would get some glue, Elmer's glue, and make some cardboard fish. I'm waiting for Mousykins to say fish! Exclamation point. But Mousykins isn't here, evidently. Otherwise that would have happened. Oh, I wanted to draw downstairs, the view downstairs, didn't I? Making fish. Um, it's a I described drawing of the Pullman train car images as sort of like doing worry beads and just knitting something that's mindless in a way, but just keeps your fingers busy. And the fish are a little different than that. They're not as mindless as some drawing can be, but um, they are fun to do, relaxing to do. I don't stress about them. And I found two really nice boxes that would make different kind of fish. Can we go to the grocery store today to buy a scoop
What kind of scoop?
for the kitty
We
litter?
already have one.
You got one?
Yeah, but I'm gonna completely change the.
Okay,
litter
well,
for
I didn't
tonight.
know if when did you get it?
Todd bought it last night,
Oh, he did, okay.
but I'm gonna completely change the litter box.
Okay.
Today.
I want to get some glue,
Okay.
and I don't want to drive your car by myself.
Well, can I go get you the glue?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, yeah, that would be fine. I mean, I can go.
I got some errands I have to do.
Okay.
How big a tub do you need?
I don't need a tub. I just need Elmer's glue.
Yeah, I know. How big a container?
Just the
The
kind.
big one.
Well, not. I mean, they come in a gallon size. I don't want a gallon. Um, just the
Just the
the
regular.
largest kind that comes with the little
Yep.
nozzle
Yep.
at the top.
And it's just plain Elmer's, not.
Not if they have Elmer's school glue. I don't need that unless they don't have any other kind. It looks the same except school glue. I think you can eat something.
Oh, you don't want the one for kids that they can eat.
I don't. Well, I don't. It probably doesn't stick as much as well either. So just Elmer's regular glue. Elmer's,
The
the regular. If they have regular, fine. If they have school glue, that's fine too. Thanks.
Yep, no problem.
That's my brother's girlfriend, who is a big dog that you sometimes see in the, not often in the pictures I draw because I'm
Straightening up the kitchen now.
Okay. Hi, Como. Um, if I lived in a suburb in Boston, I would probably move back here. But I don't live in a suburb. I live in a very active artist building that has 150 units and 50 maybe, maybe not that many now, 40 of the people that are there now have been there for 30 years and they were 40 years, and they are the people that I renovated the building with. So I'm really good friends with many of them. And it's a very social building. And Boston is, I'm a mile away from the State House in Boston, and I can walk or ride my bike really anywhere I need to go. I don't need a car. And here, I have friends here in Minneapolis, but it requires me to put shoes on and get in a car and drive for 20 minutes at least to get to them. And I've become spoiled by city life. And, but I always considered this as my house, my home, and my Boston home as my treehouse. So I don't want this to go away, but I've never had to do things like pay taxes or pay the heating or do anything. It was always here. And now that I own it and my brothers own it, we've got taxes to pay and heating bills to pay and things like that. And so even though I own it, I feel, and because my parents are no longer here, this doesn't seem to be as much of a home as it used to be to me. So I don't think I will retire here. I may come here to die if this house still exists, but I don't know whether I would spend my last years here. But if I knew I was terminally ill, I might choose to come back here to terminate. Como, where are you going to die?
here.
Yeah,
The kitties are all, so you don't have to worry about them.
or locked away.
They're locked away. And so I'm gonna get my hair trimmed. I'm gonna go to festival, and I'll get the Elmer's glue.
Okay.
And then Todd wanted me to buy beer, and I'm gonna buy you some more beer.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna come home and clean the bathrooms. Get them all cleaned up.
Okay. I'll also find out whether Todd Johnson is coming tonight.
No, they still need to be cleaned anyway.
Yeah, I know,
We
but
have beer around.
you know, I've got to pee. I'll be right back. You can watch me. No, you can't watch me. You can look at the ceiling. See, the ceiling is nice too. There's no attic. That's the roof. So we get to hear all of the raindrops. Sounds like rain. See, it is raining. Well, we're on this downward spiral now, Mr. Neville. I never thought I'd be this old. Chins. I've got two. I need a chinectomy. Do they do such a thing? I guess they do. Facelifts do that. Oh. How old are you, Como? Huh. You're closer to the edge of the cliff than I am, I guess. But Yeah, level 70, that's, I imagine I'll make it there. My body is not falling apart very much. Um, Cooler. My body, it, my, I've never been in great shape. I've just been in, you know, the shape that one gets from just walking around. I don't exercise. I don't do anything that's sportive. I used to drink a lot. I used to eat more than I do now. So I was heavier by
Oh, I gotta get my shoes on.
50 pounds.
Just have to get my shoes.
Okay. But I don't do anything to keep my health. So I know when I start to round as a shape, that's very true. I like to say that I don't have a washboard washboard abs. I have a much more modern physique. It's a washing machine gut. Who needs washboard abs when you've got a washing machine gut? Um, but the though I haven't done anything to keep my body in good shape, I haven't done anything to fuck it up either. I I was complaining to my little brother who skis and bike rides and is very active. I said to him, I wonder, Troy, I'm having a hard time. My knees really hurt. I wonder if I need a knee replacement. And he said, for God's sake, Pierre, you have knees of a 16-year-old because I don't do anything with them. So I don't really have things wrong with me. I don't have steel plates in my head or rods going up and down my spine or in and out of various bones and joints. I've never broken a bone. Other than tonsils out and a circumcision scar. I had only had I had a couple of stitches in a finger when I cut my finger, and had I cut my heel and had 5 stitches on my heel. But other than that, I'm relatively unscarred. Well, I don't know if I'm lucky so much as it's hard to break your leg when you sit on a fucking chair all day long, right? When I used to run around and do you run into things? It sounds like you must run into things, stub your toes. You must not walk into things, you must actually run into things somehow. Or carry cinder blocks around. You have a bed, you stub your toe while you're in bed. I'm just imagining what you're doing in bed that was you'll stub your toe. Oh dear. Oh, that's horrible. My. Those bar stools, they just don't make them like they used to. You know, they seem okay when you first sit in them, but then they start wobbling. Don't understand that. Moving back over to my little a couple of drawings I want to make on my iPad today. That oh God. Well, next time do the naked thing.
Interesting question.
Alexa, what's the naked thing? No, Siri, what's the naked thing? Siri, what's the naked thing?
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Never mind.
Okay.
What's the temperature in Minnesota?
It's currently 43 degrees in St. Paul.
You know, she's not that stupid. She knows that it's currently 43 degrees.
I have to grab a piece of paper. You don't have any scrap paper, do you? That's all scrap?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, probably not.
Here. That's all blank, I think.
Gonna write a list so I don't forget. Anything. Look at your beers. The beer that I've been buying is okay,
All of it's fine, yeah.
but I'm gonna be at the liquor store.
No, that's fine. It's,
Well, didn't you like some German?
there's only one kind I didn't like, and it's O'Doul's.
But I mean, what's the German one that I bought you last year that you were
I can't remember. Beck's maybe. But again, what you bought me last time is fine. St. Pauli Girl is good. The only one I don't like is O'Doul's.
Got it.
Yeah, it's just awful. The other ones taste kind of like beer.
How's the bread for your lunch? Let me look. Oh, there's a cut of bread. No box. You don't need bread. You don't need bread. Oh,
by all means, Como, hide. Pick a spot where they're not going to look. Okay. What am I doing now? I think what I'm going to do now, I just am dealing with this flower lady again. And I will talk with you later. Bye-bye, everyone.